Good morning and welcome, T-Roys, to the Trogan House project. Thank you for attending this pre-construction presentation. My name is Andrew Broxhome and I'm the project manager of Big Toes PLC. Today we're going to demonstrate to you how we proposed activities and procedures will form part of a successful project for you to enjoy and be proud of. The Trojan House project, situated on Bramley Road, is going to be split into two main phases. The first phase will involve the demolishing of the existing brick factory, the removal and safe disposal of the contaminated materials. Our second phase will be the construction of a 4-storey block, including a new entrance and car park. Unlike the Trojans, I'd like to introduce our elite team who will lead this project to the successful and safe completion. First, our Helen of Troy, Josephine, hello, our safety officer. Next, our gladiator, Mike, our site manager. Our brigadier, Callum, our contracts manager. Our tech whiz, Simon, our technical manager. The man always in control, Tony, our demolition manager. And last but not least, Keith, our liaison manager. I would like now to hand over to Callum, who will present our site setup, security and traffic arrangements.
Thank you. Right, so what I'd like to show you is phase 1 of the construction project. On this phase 1, we are going to be demolishing this building right here. As you can see in front of you, you've got a designated one-way system coming in through there, straight into the trade car park. Heavy machinery will go round site, all on a one-way system. There's a PP3 zone, which will contain all the site cabins, the trade car park and a smoking area. The main construction, like I say, this is the main construction area where we're demolishing the redundant factory. The muster point and the turnstiles, so the muster point is designated outside of the construction area. There's a turnstile going into site where the security area is, and a turnstile to the main control area, main construction area. The boundaries around site are marked on that drawing in front of you, are all the way around, hard barriers and then Harris fencing just here. The Harris fencing, Tony will tell you why we're putting Harris fencing up. The entrance to site will be via this route here, so we will be sharing the car park temporarily with this office block here. I'm going to pass you over to Tony, who's now going to talk about phase 2.
Morning. As you can see, phase 1 has now been done.
That's phase 2.
This is gone, removed. The only real change is the material store has been moved from here to now here, and the entrance and exit is now here. The fencing here is now boarded off and safe, which gives these here access in and out safely, and the access is all the same, really. That's it. Callum?
Okay.
Cheers, Tony. So I'm just going to talk to you about the traffic management plan that we've put in place. So all pedestrian walkways are clearly signed, well lit and away from vehicles and machinery. The speed limit around site is 5 miles per hour. There is a clear path from security gate to the office welfare facilities. There's a one-way system has been put in place throughout site to prevent any accidents occurring. There's 2 times zebra crossings implemented with temporary lighting and traffic marshalling to ensure pedestrians and visitors are safe. Banksman will be in place at all times when the heavy machinery is reversing. Security, I'd like to tell you a bit about security. So boundaries are in place around the perimeter of site, 2.4 metre solid wood hoarding, and the use of temporary Harris fencing is also being used around the existing car park. Signs are in place on the outside of the perimeter fence, entrance to site, and around the PPE free zone. Specific storage areas such as materials, machinery and cosh have been provided on both phases with Harris fencing surrounding the areas. Cosh will be locked away safely. A fingerprint biometric system will be in place once personnel have completed a site induction. Until the site induction is complete, all personnel will be treated as visitors and will sign in using a register. 2 security guards will be in place during phase 1, and then another will be added for phase 2 with added turnstiles on entrance to site and entrance to the main construction areas. CCTV will be installed around site, mainly focusing on the entrance to site and the storage areas. Site operating hours will be between 7 AM and 5 PM, but security patrol will continue through the night to ensure no unauthorised personnel enters the site and has an injury, such as children or thieves. I'd now like to pass you back over to Simon, who will talk you through the induction process.
Okay, so quick brief on the inductions. So site inductions will be held in the site cabin, as located on the phase plans. Days of inductions will be on Mondays, Wednesdays and Thursdays. Time of inductions will be 8 AM prompt. Anyone arriving after that will be turned away. The site manager and safety manager, site manager or the safety manager will carry out the inductions. So we've got in the checklist for inductions, we're going to be including toolbox talks. Of course, we want to make sure our workers are fit for purpose. We're going to be including the PPE 5-point check, which is going to be hard hats, boots, gloves, safety glasses and high-vis jackets. We want to make sure all relevant tradespeople have their correct qualifications are in date. So these things are the SMSTS cards. Also, when we get the electricians, plumbers on site, we want to make sure they've got their relevant qualifications. We're going to talk over site hours, the yellow and red card procedures, obviously quite important, the first aid locations, welfare locations. Obviously we need to know about the supervisor's name and locations. We'll brief over hospital locations, again pedestrian access and walkways. There'll be awareness of plant machinery, so we'll use the thumbs up awareness for that. There'll be a 0 tolerance on alcohol and drugs. We'll be using the drug and alcohol testing for that. High risk activity must adhere to signage. As we pointed out, there will be asbestos and lead and cadmium in the ground. Permit systems, so obviously we've got hot works, we're working at height, obviously we need permits for them. Report any unsafe practices. There'll be an accident book, and of course we'll be following the CDM. Also, just point out there will be assembly points. Obviously we'll make staff aware of assembly points. So site rules.
Okay.
Pass on to Josephine.
Thank you. Okay, these are some of the site rules that we are going to incorporate into our project for your construction. So wear PPE at all times for staff and visitors. Do not start work without an induction. Keep the site tidy at all times. Don't put yourself or others at risk. Follow the safety signs and procedures. Report defects, accidents and near misses. Never tamper with equipment. Smoking permitted in designated areas. Visitors report to security. Vehicle drivers must wear PPE. Vehicles must follow the traffic management plan. Reverse parking only. Drivers must remain in their vehicle during loading and unloading. Public must be protected from hazards associated with this work. 0 tolerance on drugs and alcohol. Offensive or inappropriate language not allowed on this site. No gambling, threatening or violent behaviour. No personnel shall indulge in fighting, horseplay or practical jokes within the site or its perimeters. Toilets and washrooms must be kept in a clean and tidy state. Refuse must not be allowed to accumulate, work areas to be kept tidy. Combustible materials to be removed on a regular basis and disposed of in an appropriate manner. Food and drink only allowed in the designated areas. Transistor radios, personal audio devices are not to be used, and only phones can be used in designated areas. Permission must be obtained of the site manager before work on site is carried out. All site personnel, for their own safety and safety of others, are required to comply fully with employer's statement or working method. Site fire and emergency alarms, equipment and instructions are designed to protect life. They must be followed. Provocative gestures not allowed. If in doubt, please ask. And if there's anything else that you would like to see as part of our site rules as our client, we would be happy to add onto this list. Thank you.
Thanks, Josephine. Now we're going to just work on to the emergency procedures and arrangements. As you can see, the local hospital is the QMC, which will be on posters around the site. Also, will be advertised as the local environment agency, asbestos, Severn Trent, and HSE, anybody that we need to inform or of any incidents. A fire safety and evacuation. Anyone discover a fire incident should raise the alarm by using any one of the fire points. Evacuate your workplace. Evacuate should be prompt and calm. Everyone should make their way to the assembly points as pointed out on the site plan. Wait for the competent fire marshal to do an emergency roll call at the assembly musters point. All turnstiles should be free spinning to allow individuals to evacuate swiftly. Fire marshal should be given a printout of all the operative names on site that day and carry out a head count before anybody returns to site. Okay. I'll now hand you back over to Josephine.
So as part of the CDM regulation 2015, the welfare assessments are a really important part of those regulations. So on our side, we're going to have 10 cabins, and this will be made up of one for the office, one for the meeting and induction room, one for security and first aid, 2 toilet blocks, which will include 8 cubicles, 8 urinals, female toilets with showers, units on the end, including sinks, including pre and after work cream, barrier, sun cream, and hand wash. There'll be 3 lots of rest facilities, including canteen area with tables, chairs with backs, hot water for the boiler, hot water boiler, cold water, drinking water, fridge, hand towels, microwaves and heating, and plus we're going to have 2 drying rooms. So that's going to include supply of hot and cold water, soap and other cleansers, towels, other means of drying, separate facilities for men and women, location and details of welfare facilities on the site, opening hours of the site canteen, provisions of creams and rehydrating lotions, designated area for smokers, and a locker for storage and changing. Thank you. And we're moving on. Sorry.
As part of our enabling works, we need to install a number of temporary cables for site power, offices, infrastructure and site security. As agency staff are undertaking these works, we have prepared a comprehensive risk assessment and method statement to ensure we have a robust, safe system of work. Our site supervision will be coordinating the works to ensure we have oversight of all activities. These will ensure that there is no deviation from the planned works and that they are completed in a safe and controlled manner.
Okay, so we've got signage by law. This is going to be dotted around the site. We're going to be including the health and safety law poster. We want to include the health and safety policy, employees liability insurance, obviously the F10 form. Again, quite important, first aiders, fire evacuation arrangements, prohibitions, warnings, mandatory signage, and of course the exits. So further on for site signage, obviously just something that you're going to see about the place. So we're obviously going to have the danger of asbestos, contaminated land, pedestrian route, speed limit, security, of course demolition in progress. As we spoke about, one-way system, zebra crossings, mobile plan. Again, we've got security for unauthorised access. We've got buried underground services. Obviously we're going to have to highlight any hazardous substances, including the COSH. Signage regarding welfare, first aid, permit office, various mandatory signs, obviously various prohibited signs and various warning signs. As we've highlighted, we've got muster points, escape routes, the induction room, obviously PPE free zones and mobile phone zones as well.
Thank you, Simon. Okay, we're just going to move on to now. Obviously, we have to gain permission for some of the activities that were on site. So, what we will be doing, we'll be informing, obviously, the existing office people that will be live throughout the construction of both phases of the project. The environmental agency will be contacted because of removal of hedges, trees, and the proximity of the river. Water company, Severn Trent, obviously, will because of the removal of soil and to check the water table. Adjacent CAF, obviously local businesses we're going to contact to make sure that they are aware of our activities and the contact should they need any information from the site. Due to the asbestos removal, obviously by law we've got to include contact the HSC and for all of the requirements by the HSC because the amount of labour on site. Local authority, Nottingham City Council, again planning permission and our activities on site to make sure that we are covered. I'd now like to pass you back over to Josephine for additional considerations.
Okay, so the other considerations that we have to consider for the site is communication with our non-English speaking workers, as we, the site is made up of various people. Site inspection report, the accident prevention and reporting investigation, health and surveillance for veal and lead, environmental consideration, waste storage removal, being a good neighbour, visitor site inductions, working at height. Pass over to Simon to give us a...
So obviously we need to consider noise. Obviously there's going to be a high level of noise, so we have to monitor that. Manual handling is going to be a big issue, obviously with a lot of removal of equipment. We have to consider the ecology, so obviously the relation we have with the surrounding area. And like we say, there's a river nearby, trees and hedges, etc. Obviously vibration is going to be a big one. Waste management and pollution. We have to consider the soil management regarding that. Energy efficiency. We're then going to obviously consider the provision and use of work equipment, lift operations and lifting equipment. And then we're going to implement a safety observation card. So it's going to be £1 per card, which is going to be donated to local charity, the Nottingham Hospice. And then we'll be including monthly rewards for our employees.
Okay, thank you team. I think that concludes
No, there's one more slide.
Oh, I apologise.
So just other considerations is as a company contractor, we will provide a 3-week look ahead to plan activities and reach goals within the project. We will provide weekly meetings in progress, coordinating performance and innovations, daily meetings between all trades, supervision and managers for following day's activities, and this will no doubt help in delays within the construction programme.
And that will conclude our presentation.
We have a slide.
Yeah. Pardon?
Questions? Oh.
I didn't realise that. Well, very good.
Any questions, guys?
Just a quick question, please. From your plans, I didn't see that it was clear where your pedestrian routes actually are.
Okay.
That's why I provided this to you, Andy.
Okay.
So I marked it out with the highlighter on the board. You've got a pedestrian route going from security here. There's your muster point. Going from security here
Dark.
through
Yeah.
to the zebra crossing.
The blue line, yeah?
No, no,
This
the
line
black
here.
line.
Oh, the black line, sorry,
Black
yeah?
line.
It
Through the
just, it wasn't
turnstile.
marked on that, so.
Through the turnstile, black
Yeah.
line, through to zebra
marked on.
crossing,
Okay.
into
Sorry,
into the PPE free zone, out the PPE free zone, into the
Okay.
construction site. And again, it should be marked on here. In this one, it's in red on the 22.
Sorry,
Okay, thank you.
couple of questions. What standard is your PPE going to meet? Obviously, we don't know how it is. But is there any certification it's got to meet?
Is it CE?
Yeah, CA. And the next question was, you mentioned the creams and soaps you're going to have in your welfare facilities. What would they be and what are they going to be used for?
Barrier cream. So that'll be used for the guys after working on site. They'll also have hand wash, which will have, so it has like a hard, you know, you've all used it, it has a hard layer on, so you can scrub your hands properly when you're
Pre-work
working.
cream, a wash, don't you? After work cream.
Basically, we go to the supplier, they will give us everything that we need to undertake those
Sun
tasks.
cream.
Yep.
Anything else, guys?
Maybe?
I think I've got one final question, and that is, your asbestos, you mentioned that. What are your control measures for asbestos removal and stop any other materials getting contaminated?
Well, we're beginning to use a specialist contractor, and obviously they'll have their specific method statement risk assessments, which is directed at that. They're a professional company, so they'll ensure that no contaminations escape from the actual existing. We are going to also put a compound around the actual structure until the asbestos is removed.
And as we know, asbestos companies usually use contamination areas, usually use a tented area to remove any asbestos. So there will be no dust fibres in here.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay.
Round of applause,
Team
ladies
Royce,
and
gentlemen.
Well done, guys, 15-minute changeover now, guys. 15-minute changeover.